welcome to the Torah Outreach Program, Erev Shabbos Burst of Inspiration. Today's Burst of Inspiration is sponsored by Dr. PJ and Mrs. Judy Goldberg, the Eloi Nishmas Zev Ben Chaim Yehuda, and in gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the birth of a new granddaughter, Aria Rachel, born to Yoel and Esty Goldberg in Eretz Yisrael. Mazel Tov. This week's parsha, Parshas Terumah, begins a series of parshiot, of Torah readings, that have to do with the building of the Mishkan, the building of the temporary, portable Beis HaMikdash that the Jewish people had in the Midbar, in the desert, for the 40 years, and later in Israel until they built the real Beis HaMikdash. And we go into very, very detailed, very, very specific instructions on how to build it. Materials to use, measurements, everything, every little detail is covered, that if you wanted to build the Mishkan yourself and you followed these psukim exactly, these verses in the Torah, you could do it yourself. But the question is, why? Why all the detail? The Torah was written for all generations. If there was something that happened in the time of the Torah, when the Torah was being given, that was not something we could learn from, it wasn't written down. So why all the details of the Mishkan? The most obvious and basic answer is because the Mishkan, that tabernacle as it's called in English, we learn all the basic laws for keeping Shabbos. Why do we have to learn it through that? Why can't we just learn about keeping Shabbos, all the laws of Shabbos? Because through this we learn that Shabbos is our Mishkan. Shabbos is our sanctuary, our conduit between us and God. And therefore everything we learn about keeping Shabbos, we learn from the building of the Mishkan and the service in the Mishkan. But why still all these nitty-gritty details? Every little facet. And the answer to that is, besides the idea of Shabbos, every detail that's given, every little fixture, how it's covered with gold, what is covered with gold, what's not covered with gold, inside, outside, we can learn life lessons. We can learn what God expects of us and how we act in this world. One very basic example, the Aron HaKodesh, the ark that held the luchot, the tablets, that represents the Talmid Chacham, the Torah scholar, those who teach Torah and those who learn Torah, those who dedicate themselves to giving Torah out to the masses. It's gold on the outside, gold on the inside where no one can see. Why? Because a person who represents Torah has to be respectable. Gold on the outside. But also has to be tocho kaboro. Behind the scenes has to be just as good. Not putting on a show for the outside world. Gold on the inside where no one can see. But the inner layer between the outside box and the inside box is wood. Why wood? Because wood is something alive. Wood is something that when it was planted, it grew. And someone who wants to be dedicated to Torah has to know that there is no stopping. You always have to grow. My Rabbi, Rabbi Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, used to say that the term Ben Torah, which means someone who learns and is dedicated to Torah, and Ben Aliyah, someone who's always looking to raise himself, to go higher, are synonymous. And he used the Aron as an example. But the next question is interesting. The Badei Ha'aron, the stabs that went into the sides of the Ark of the Aron, were used to carry the Aron when they traveled through the desert. Many of the other vessels had those stabs attached to them. But only the Aron Once the staves went in, we were never allowed to take them out. Those staves that supported the Aron, that supported the ark, stayed with it forever. Some say till this very day, because that was the same Aron that was moved into the first temple and later moved into this, was moved into the first temple and stayed there until it was hidden towards the end of the first temple before it was destroyed. When they knew that the end was near, they wanted to hide it away. But that Aron is still there somewhere, hidden, with those staves connected. Why? Just like the Aron represents those who teach Torah and those who spread Torah to the masses, those staves represent those who support Torah. Those who support Torah are equal to those who teach and disseminate Torah and stay with it at all times. Just like the Aron is covered in gold, those staves are covered in gold. Just like the Aron goes into the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies, those staves go into the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. They're inseparable. They're one and the same. Not everybody has the luxury of spreading Torah, but everybody wants a piece of that. Everybody wants to be in the Kodesh Kodashim, in God's Holy of Holies. But if you're not spreading Torah, how can you do that? Simple. Become the staves. Support the Aron. Support the spreading and disseminating of Torah. The Torah Outreach Program. Next Shabbos, we'll be hosting a Shabbaton. We will be making a Shabbaton for 6 to 8 senior citizens who will be staying here in this neighborhood with us the whole Shabbos. And every single one of them, at least the vast majority of them, have never experienced a Shabbos in their life. And they will be experiencing a Shabbos from beginning to end, understanding what it is to be in the Mishkan. The following week, the Torah Outreach Program will be hosting a Kriyas Megillah reading and a Purim Suda for up to 40 senior citizens who otherwise would not have a Purim. It's your opportunity to become part of that dissemination of Torah and Yiddishkeit. Give to the Torah Outreach Program. There should be a link at the bottom of this site which connects you to a sweepstakes, a chance to win $100,000. But that's not what's important. What's important is we all want a piece of this ability to spread Torah to the masses. Shabbos.